If you've ever looked at your friend absolutely demolishing pasta, bread, and dessert while staying lean, and meanwhile, you just think about a muffin and your tights get tighter, this video is going to change absolutely everything for you. Here is what most people believe: calories in, calories out, eat less, move more. If you're not losing weight, you're either lying about what you're eating or you're just not trying hard enough. And it's this kind of rhetoric that kept me stuck in a yo-yo dieting cycle for years. Here's the reality: your body doesn't just count calories, it manages insulin and glucose. And how your body handles carbs might be completely different to how your friend's body does. That's why two people can eat the exact same diet and have different results on the scale. In this video, I'm going to break down why glucose spikes matter more than calorie counts for fat loss, how insulin resistance can make you store fat even when you're eating healthy, what continuous glucose monitors can reveal about your unique metabolism, and why understanding your glucose response is the missing piece if calories in, calories out has failed you. Real quick, my name is Kim. I've lost over 14 kilos. I've kept it off for over a year. I continue to recomposition my body, building muscle, losing fat, and improving my metabolic health. My approach has been primarily animal-based, sometimes ketovore, paired with well-timed intermittent fasting. I also spend hours every week researching nutrition-based wellness and reading trusted books on the topic. I have been exactly where you are, frustrated, confused, and wondering why nothing seemed to work. But once I understood insulin and glucose, everything clicked. Before we dive in, all my fat loss resources are linked in the description below if you want the full roadmap. So let's just get into it. So here's the thing everyone gets wrong. They think fat loss is just math. Eat 1,500 calories, burn 2,000 calories, lose weight, done. But your body isn't a calculator, it's a hormone-driven machine, and that hormone that controls whether you store or burn fat is insulin. Every time you eat carbs, especially refined carbs like bread, pasta, rice, or sugar, your blood glucose will spike. When glucose spikes, your body releases insulin to shuttle the sugar into your cells. And here's the thing: when insulin is high, your body fat is in storage mode, not fat burning mode. So even if you're eating healthy carbs like oatmeal or like whole wheat toast or fruit smoothies, if those foods are spiking your glucose multiple times a day, you're spending most of your day in fat storage mode. And if you're insulin resistant, which a lot of women over 30 are, especially if you have yo-yo dieted or have PCOS, those spikes can be even worse. Think about it. You could be eating the same calories as your friend, but if your body is pumping out more insulin every time you eat, you are storing fat while they're burning it. That's not fair, but it's biology. Take me versus my mum, for example. She's recently reversed her prediabetes, but we ate the same lunch and dessert on Christmas Day, and my post-meal glucose was 3.5 millimole and hers was 7 millimole. She's under the diabetic range of 7.8 millimole, but she stayed at an elevated glucose level for longer. And you might think, oh, that's just age. Well, we also tested my mother-in-law, who is a year older than my mum, and her glucose was 5.5 millimole. So why does this even matter? This is why calorie counting alone doesn't work for everyone. If you are spiking your glucose all day long, you are never giving your body enough chance to burn fat, even if you're in a calorie deficit. So here's where it gets wild. There was a study called Glucotypes Reveal New Patterns of Glucose Dysregulation, and it basically blew the lid off of what we thought we knew about blood sugar. Here's what they found. Nearly 30 million Americans have diabetes and another 84 million are pre-diabetic. But here's the scary part. Most of those cases go undetected because the standard tests we use, like fasting glucose tests or A1C, are just snapshots. They don't show your glucose all day long, but using a continuous glucose monitors, researchers discovered that even people who tested normal on standard tests were experiencing blood sugar spikes into pre-diabetic ranges. This was happening up to 15% of the time, and the diabetic ranges were happening 2% of the time. Let me say that again. People who were told they were fine by their doctors were actually spiking into diabetic ranges. They just didn't know it because no one was measuring their glucose in real time.
Hey, editing Kim here. I found another wild piece of info about why your friend can demolish some pasta without consequences while you can just look at carbs and gain weight. So, researchers at Maynooth University found that the gut bacteria balance in obese people is often disrupted, and it comes down to two major groups of bacteria: the firmicutes, or I don't know how it's pronounced, firmicutes. I know that Dr. Mindy Peltz calls it firmicutes because I think it sounds nicer than just like firmicutes. And Bacteroidetes. Here's what gets crazy. So obese people tend to have higher ratios of firmicutes compared to Bacteroidetes, and firmicutes are way more efficient at extracting energy from food, especially dietary fiber. So, if you have more firmicutes, your body literally absorbs more calories from the exact same meal. It's like having a super efficient harvesting system that squeezes every last calorie out. Meanwhile, Bacteroidetes help with digestion without promoting excess fat storage. And get this, when scientists took gut bacteria from obese mice and put it into lean mice, the lean mice gained significantly more body fat compared to mice that got bacteria from other lean mice. The microbiome difference can literally be transferred and cause weight gain. So, your pasta eating friend might just have a better bacterial ratio than you do. They're eating the same foods, but their gut bacteria aren't extracting as many calories from it. It's not just willpower or genetics, it's also the trillions of bacteria in your gut that are either working with you or against you. And there have been multiple controlled overfeeding studies where scientists literally locked people in a lab, fed them the exact same surplus of calories, and watched what happened. And people gained weight at completely different rates. The most famous one is the Bouchard, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, twin study from 1990. They overfed 12 pairs of identical twins, an extra 1,000 calories per day for 100 days. Weight gain ranged from 4.3 kilos to 13.3 kilos, and twins gained similar amounts to each other, but very different amounts from other twin pairs. So genetics really plays a role here. But here's what's wild. It's not just genetics. Some people's body ramps up their energy expenditure when overfed. They literally burn off more of those excess calories through increased thermogenesis. And get this, people lose different amounts of energy through their poop, ranging from 1.2 to 11% of calories eaten. Some people also consciously move more when they're overfed. Unconsciously move more when they're overfed. More fidgeting, more spontaneous activity, or they might just be generally a more active person. There was even a 2021 study where one person ate an extra of 5,800 calories per day on 3 different diets. They gained 1.3 kg on low carb, 7.1 kg on low fat, and 4.7 kg on vegan. That's the same person, same calorie surplus, wildly different weight gain based on what those calories came from, with the lowest being from the low carb diet. So, yeah, your friend might be eating the same amounts as you, but burning off more of it, maybe like pooping some of it out a bit more, or fidgeting without even realizing, or being more active.
So here's the big takeaway: glucose regulation is highly individual. Two people can eat the exact same meal and have completely different glucose responses. Some people will spike hard from oatmeal, others will barely react. Some people's glucose crashes after a banana, triggering intense hunger and cravings, and others will stay perfectly stable. This is why your friend can eat pasta and stay lean while you get the same thing and gain weight. It's not about willpower, it is about how your body processes carbs. And why does this matter? If you don't know how your body responds to the food you're eating, you're basically dieting blind. You might be eating healthy foods that are actually sabotaging your fat loss, and you'd never know unless you measured. Dietitians and nutritionists will also commonly say not to worry about your glucose levels unless you are diabetic, but it doesn't really make much sense to only worry about something that causes a problem when you have that problem. That's like saying don't worry about how much you're smoking until you get lung cancer. Diabetes and metabolic syndrome are developed over years, not days, and what you do when you're 30 impacts your health at 60. So, how do you actually figure out how your body responds to food? Enter the continuous glucose monitors. A CGM, like the one I've got here, is a tiny sensor you wear on your arm that tracks your blood sugar 24/7. It syncs to your phone and shows you in real time how every meal, snack, and workout, or even a stressful situation, affects your glucose. Here is why that's powerful. You can see exactly which foods spike you and which foods keep you stable, how things like sleep, stress, or exercise, or even fasting impact your glucose. For example, you might think you're being super healthy by having oatmeal and fruit for breakfast, but then you check your CGM and you see that your glucose spiked drastically and then crashed 2 hours later, leaving you starving and craving sugar. Meanwhile, a high protein breakfast like eggs, bacon, and avocado keeps your glucose stable all morning with no crash and no cravings. That's the kind of insight that really changes everything, because once you know how your body reacts, you can make informed decisions about what you eat, when you eat, and how to time your carbs for fat loss instead of for fat storage. So here's what I'm doing. I just bought a CGM and I'm going to be testing how my body responds to different foods over the next few weeks. I'm going to share all of that data with you in an upcoming series. What spiked me, what kept me stable, what shocked me, because I want you to see how this works in real life, not just in theory. You don't need a CGM to lose fat, but understanding these principles of glucose control, like eating protein first, timing your carbs, and avoiding isolated carbs, is going to make fat loss so much easier. And if you do want to invest in a CGM, it's one of the best tools for personalizing your approach. I'll link the one that I bought below. It's a new company. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I have already found the app pretty easy to use, and I can even log foods in the app and it will track automatically my 2 hours post meal glucose levels. It's also got an AI assistant that I'm keen to check out for easy logging. Okay, so what if you don't have a CGM? What you can do right now to start managing your glucose and get into fat burning mode. Here are a few simple strategies. 1. Eat protein first. When you eat protein before carbs, it slows down the absorption of glucose and reduces your spike. So instead of starting your meal with bread or rice, start with protein and vegetables. Then add a small amount of carbs at the end if you want them. 2. Avoid isolated carbs. Never eat carbs on their own. If you're going to have fruit, pair it with some full fat yogurt or a handful of nuts. If you're going to have a sweet potato, eat it with butter and some steak. The fat and protein will slow down the glucose spike. 3 is move after your meals. A 10 to 15-minute walk after eating can help lower your glucose spike by up to 30%. It doesn't have to be intense, just a gentle stroll. 4, you're going to time your carbs strategically. If you're going to eat carbs, save them for the evening. Carbs at night can actually help you sleep and aid in muscle repair and won't trigger the same craving cycle as morning carbs. Just make sure to finish eating at least 2 hours before bed so you won't have elevated insulin, which will prevent melatonin from rising. These two hormones can't be high at the same time. 5, focus on whole, unprocessed carbs. Sweet potato, squash, berries, even white potatoes in moderation are way better choices than bread, pasta, or sugary snacks. They're higher in fiber, which slows glucose absorption. And why does this matter? These strategies are free. They're simple and they work. You don't need fancy equipment or expensive supplements, just a few tweaks to how and when you can eat will make a massive difference. All right, let's bring this all home. If you have been eating healthy, counting calories, doing all the right things, but you're still not losing fat, it's not your fault. It's because no one told you that glucose and insulin are the real drivers of fat storage and fat burning. And if you don't understand how your body handles carbs, you're dieting blind. Here's the real work. It's not about perfection, it's about experimentation, honesty, and patience. You need to figure out how your body responds to food and your environment. I'm sharing this with you because I've been where you are, and once I understood insulin and glucose, my body finally made sense. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into insulin management, fasting protocols, and how to structure your meals for fat loss, check out the resources that I've got in the description below. I've got a full guide that walks you through exactly how to reset your metabolism, manage insulin, and finally get the results that you've been working so hard for. And if you found this video helpful, you will love this other video I did, why I stopped eating 6 meals a day and lost 14 kilos. If you could please do me a huge favor and hit that like button, it helps more people just like you to find this video. And subscribe if you want more science-backed fat loss content, and drop a comment below telling me, have you ever suspected that your body handles carbs differently to other people? Because I'd love to hear your story. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay curious, and remember, you're not broken, you just needed the right information.